So I am re-recording a section to my discussion and results that I missed in the previous video. This is the amount of reads that the sample that we're analyzing had. As you can see, the sample has 100% of their reads passing, and same thing with their positive and their negative. And the significance of these samples are that these are the samples that we did not test. We got this from the lab notebook or from the previous results from the previous years. Then next is the taxonomy. As you can see, it's the kingdom level, the order level, and also the genus level of the two organisms that we are comparing. Again, we did not do our experiment on them. And then the positive control. As you can see, the different bacterias and the different type of taxonomy levels. And then lastly, the graphs for these for each taxonomy level. And then the discussion to proceed. So now going back to the discussion. Well, what I wanted to say, like I said before, was both the positive, negative, or all of them, positive, negative, and both samples that we looked at, which were the flat-coated retriever and the husky, all their reads were successful because they were 100%. But that doesn't really tell us anything because we're comparing each organism's size to each other. So thus it doesn't really tell us which organisms have more of which microorganism. And then next, the microorganisms in the flat-coated retriever at the kingdom level, as well as the husky level, are bacteria and unclassified microorganisms. But I would say viruses, but the only thing with viruses for the husky and the flat-coated retriever was that there were 0% viruses found in either at the kingdom level. So as you go down, it gets more specific. So now we go on to the order level. So both differ. Both the flat-coated retriever and the husky differ because of the amounts and the percents of each bacteria and unclassified organism that there is. For the flat-coated retriever, that's 99.02% in the kingdom, and then for the husky, it's 61.20%. And then the amount of unclassified is for the flat-coated retriever is 0.98%, and then the amount for the husky is 38.80. So as you can see, the amount of bacteria in the kingdom for the flat-coated retriever is very significant because it's almost 100%, whereas opposed to the husky, it's 61.20%. And the amount of unclassified for the husky is 60 or 38.80%, which is more than the flat-coated retriever. So then we go down to the order level. The order level now includes specific types of microorganisms. So for example, there is the bacteriodales, the enterobacteriodales, the clostridiales, the fusobacteriales, and the Burkholdereales. So those are the specific microorganisms. Now the proportions and the percents are different. So for the flat-coated retriever, there's 43.53% of the bacteriodale, there's 0% of the enterobacteriodale, there's 16.94 of the clostridiodale, 22.09% of the fusobacteriale, and then there is 2.18% of the Burkholdereales. And then for the husky, in that same order, the percents read 5.33%, 1.65%, 29.71%, 0%, and 0%. So now lastly, we go into the genus, and then the significance of the genus is that the genus has Bacteriodale as well, enterobacterials, the Prevotella, the Blavtia, and the Fusobacterium. So for the flat-coated retriever, the percents in that same order of the microorganisms that I listed would be 31.11%, 0%, 8.38%, 0%, and then finally 10%. And then for the husky, there would be 0%, then 0% again, 3.08%, 15.45%, and 0%. So the significance of bacteria that was found most common would be for the bacterial deal, and the significance or the physiological purpose of that bacteria is to pretty much break down anything in the gut. Since bacteria feast on dead and decomposing things, that's what it kind of does within the stomach. So other than that, I would go ahead and conclude that our hypothesis was supported because the flat coat retriever had more specific amounts of bacteria within the gut than the husky, and the flat-coated retriever was larger than the husky, as we said in our hypothesis. So therefore, it is supported. And thank you.